Say again? I know Luke wants to know something. I'm going out to a thermal out front, which is a long way away. When I get a moment, I'll turn the camera to it. I don't know. Long way to go. At worst, I'll walk up. Yeah, I reckon I get that. I'll turn the vari on. Still just pushing out basically to the landing field to my climb. Must get back at some point and teach Luke. He's down there. Coming up down there. Around the roundabout. Oh, look at all those people in their metal coffins. Ugh. Now remember, we've got to go around the roundabout. That's the task. And back to take off if we can. And the sea breeze comes through quickly now. It'll outrun us and we'll be game over. Need to get another thermal. Hello and welcome, my name's Rob Chisholm at Free Flight Brighton, and I'm going to talk to you today about Mount Caburn and landing approach for top landing. There'll be other tutorials to follow on from this because it's more, the more I think about it, the more information I wish to give, therefore the tutorials will be quite long. So in the years I've flown here, it's about 29 years, you really pick up a lot. You're not going to find it in an app, so I'm going to go straight into the weather before we go into the areas about the ridge itself. So we've got southwest straight away on there. That shows the airflow. The ridge, you can see the shape here. That's the shape. So you could say that bit faces that way, that bit faces that way, that bit faces that way, that bit there faces that way. So the first things you should be thinking about is southwest. What type of air mass is that? It's coming from the southwest. Where's it originating from? What type of air you're likely to get with that? What type of pressures are going to be associated with this? Then you can start to look at the shape of the ridge. So to explain that in more basic terms, where was I? I was at New Haven, which a lot of people like to fly for some reason. Just point out you don't need to be near the ridge to fly it, but a lot of people seem to for some reason. Never quite worked it out why. But what I'm trying to say is the airflow come here to go up like that, and obviously over here it goes rotor. So if you fly over there, it wouldn't be so good. But this airflow goes up like that. Can't get, it's pretty basic science of where the air's going. So if we were to come back to Caburn, you've got in red landing zone, and I'll just get rid of that layer. Oops, there we go. So you've got landing zone, you've got the southwest winds, you've got the takeoff. Hopefully you're starting to look at the picture. I'll zoom in for you. It doesn't look anything like a cliff, does it? And maybe you've already thought this area here doesn't face southwest. Maybe you thought that doesn't say southwest because it's sort of more, going that way, isn't it? So what are we looking at? Let's have a different picture. Here we go. Straight away you can see part of it faces south, part of it faces southwest. So we could look at this like this. A cliff runs like that. Mount Caburn's more like that. So which one is going to produce the better lift? The answer's there straight in front of you. So when it comes to top landing, that's going to be a bit of a key issue for you. Here we've got southwest winds. I'm flying parallel with the ridge which faces south. As I enter where the circles are, if a thermal comes through, I will go up. That could be a bit, not so useful because your landing approach could be of many. There's no one set area. So if I grab Devil's Dyke, here we go. That's Devil's Dyke. You can see it's very flat. Such as, not flat, but it's a gentle slope. And, that's a huge area to land in. It's massive, depending on the conditions where you fly and how you fly. That is a big area. So even with those pilots there, you could land, you've got loads of options where you can land. So if we go to Caburn, here we are, this is one area. I can't, it's going to be difficult for a novice to land there because unfortunately on the site, there's no site rule where we would say, it'd be great if we had one and everyone did do this. All gliders preparing can go over there, and all gliders that are actually in a position that wish to take off go down here. But they don't. So you just got gliders everywhere. So if you're coming in and you're going to make a top landing approach here, you may have to say it's not safe to land because this pilot here might launch. Might look that way, might look up there, and then not see you. So when you come in, you do have to be extra vigilant on what's going on around you. So what sort of flight plan would you take? Well, depending on the conditions again, if it's thermic, because in March, April, May, you can see the sun there. It doesn't get very high. That's probably about 1 o'clock, I guess. All of these areas down here will be in frost, including that field. They'll convect and thermal activity will take place. So just as you come across this way, you're probably going to find thermals may come in. That will help if you're a little bit lower. I'll just explain. Get rid of that. If you were coming in like this and you're a bit lower going along the ridge, you may find you pop up and you land on top quite happily there. A good trick to learn, or what I use in the school when I'm teaching people, is the pilot hair's coming in. As the pilot comes in, you've got a pilot here, you've got a pilot here. This is more in the summer months. This will be takeoff. I get them to slow with the right or weight shift to the right. This means the angle of the glider, instead of coming down with the wind, is now going to turn slightly into wind, reducing their ground speed. That's if you're coming this way. Probably some people would have asked, why not, if I get the relative picture, this will do, why do you not come in from the other side? So sort of, why not fly around here and go there? Well, there's a big quarry there, there's zero lift there, the lift is over there, and if you did go over there, you may find you can't come forwards anymore and land in an area there, or worse, if it's windy, you will go into the quarry. That would be bad news. Obviously, you would try and get to your landing zone. So if I can either bring another picture up or draw one for you, so bear with me. The takeoff there, that takeoff zone, you don't want to be going anywhere over here. It's not really suitable. So when you come across here, it's going to be a little bit difficult. You've got to be careful which way you turn. So I think if we choose a more closer image, I can give you a better perspective of what I'm trying to explain, I hope. I'll just show you that one just out of the old days. The car park zone had power lines in. There are still some power lines down at Caburn, so don't do what that pilot did. Basically wore sunglasses and couldn't see the power lines and then flew into them. It was okay, so don't worry about it. I don't seem to have that one picture I really would like. Which is a bit annoying. I'm sure it's here somewhere. Just bear with me. It seems to have disappeared. We'll make use of this. So get rid of that. There we go. So what we've got here is how you're going to make that flight plan to land on top. So if we're looking down on top of the hill, it's going to be like that. And the wind's going southwest there. You could come across down the front here and then hopefully land on top. There's a lot of hopes because it depends on what the wind's doing. But here there'd be not much lift, but as you get to here there would be. You can see I'm out here away from the ridge. You can see that pilot's up there and that pilot's low there. You would have thought that pilot there would have better ridge lift, but it doesn't work like that. It's thermals probably on this day, but that's where you would associate there to be the general lift. So I'm away from the ridge and I'm quite happy. But if you were going back to here, imagine that's the top of Caburn, and you come along and your flight plan is a bit like that. Looks a bit messy to me. Let's get rid of it. So we do another flight plan. If you had height and you, if you had height and you came across like that, you could go there and land like that. All the time you're travelling that way, you must be aware of a few things. A glider may launch and not see you. Your ground speed is very high when you're travelling that way, and that's why I always ask pilots to slow the glider with the right hand side in this direction. And before I was mentioning why do we not sort of approach that way, well, you simply would be hitting this southwest wind. There would be no lift and you'd probably land on the slope there. There probably wouldn't be much danger, but if it was strong you would risk the area of quarry going there. So a lot of this comes down to your preparation of understanding what the weather's like. So 1,035 millibars you would expect on a day with temperatures. You may go up in a thermal, but when you go in sync you will go that way rather quickly, maybe 2-3 meters a second. If it's 1,018, it's going to be a very suitable day for you. It's going to have good pressure at 1,018 to 1,024. Tends to work well with paragliders. 1,035 is like a lead balloon, you will go down. So I'm not going to go into any more detail at the moment. I think that would be a long enough video for you to, to get to grips with Caburn a little bit, maybe ask some questions. Just remember, at the end of the day, Caburn is, not there. I'm over the roundabout, over the A27 in thermals. You don't need to ridge saw so much. So at the end of the day, I'm sorry to say, well, it doesn't. That's a ridge saw in sight because it's a big cliff. Can't go wrong. Yet people do fly too close to the ridge. Don't know why. Mount Caburn, it's not really a good ridge saw in sight. So it does work and it's a great place to fly, but it's a very, very small takeoff, as you can see there, hopefully. Anyway, that's enough from me. Many thanks, Rogers.